everyone, today I'm going to take you through a few of those stretches and exercises for the lower back and hip. Again, going to help with that freedom and movement through the hips to drive the force with our kick, and also to get that freedom of movement, to get a bit of that rotation through our stroke as well. Starting off, going with our classic glute stretch. So flat on your back, okay, knees bent, bringing one ankle onto the opposite knee, interlocking behind that bent knee there and pulling towards you, okay? Now, with this one, tailor it to yourself again. Don't worry too much through here. Just getting to where you feel that stretch, pulling towards you, and should be feeling a nice stretch through that glute muscle there. Holding for 30 seconds, repeat on the other side. Then we're going to move into our hip flexor stretch, okay? So what we're wanting to do here is open up through the front of the hip. So 90 degrees with our back leg, bending one leg up, 90 degrees with the other. Now with this one, the common mistake that I see, which really locks up through the lower back, is really arching into it, so stepping through and almost arching that back, which is, yes, getting the stretch, but we're putting pressure on the lower back. So what I want you to think about is really tucking that pelvis under, tailbone under, front of the hip up, and then lean into it. So I'm getting that same stretch, but keeping that lower back quite neutral. Again, holding 30 seconds, feeling that length, and repeating on the other side. Now we're going to move into our adductors. This is great as well, just with adductor stretch, but I'm also working on getting that functionality through the hip. So we're going to repeat each of these stretches, holding probably about 10 seconds on each one, and then changing around the movement here. So slightly wider stance, going to open up through here, so I'm going to lean into it, okay, and then bring your arms up and kind of bouncing into it a little bit. So 10 seconds there, good, and then we're going to change that bent leg. So we're changing the hip movement, but we're still getting that stretch. So same thing, moving into it, coming forward, so we're almost into a bit of a lunge there. So we're going to get different fibers through these adductor and quad muscles. Same thing. And just going to where you feel it. So you can continue with us in a few different positions with your feet. So, you know, up to 5, and repeating on the other side. So coming into it and then rotating the arms. So this just gets that little bit of extra movement into that hip. Same thing, coming forward. Great. Next one is really for that hip again. Slightly wide with your stance, and then stepping forward. So almost your heel and toe should be in line. So it's not a massive movement. And then what you're just focusing on is just little circles over the hip. It should be quite smooth with these movements. What I see is we're quite, you know, open in one area and then we jolt to the next. So what you're wanting is a nice controlled movement to get that flow. And again, this relates back to our stroke, so that we're getting that nice consistent stroke and glide through the hips. So we're working through there, changing positions, and circles again. So all of these, as you can see and as you can feel when you're doing them, are really going to help open up the hip, again, help open up that lower back, helping with that stroke to be nice and fluid in the water.